Welcome back to ZE Coins. We dig deep into the world of rare coins, hidden treasures and mind-blowing values you won't believe. Today we're diving into the top 7 most valuable Washington quarter-dollar coins that are worth an absolute fortune in today's market, some reaching into the millions of dollars and others continuing to climb in value every year. We're diving into the fascinating story of the 1967 Washington quarter dollar. You might think it's just another coin in your pocket, but believe it or not, some of these coins can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So don't go anywhere, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for in your loose change or coin collection. Let's go back to 1967. The United States was going through a coinage crisis. A few years earlier, in 1965, the government removed silver from circulating quarters due to rising silver prices. This meant that quarters minted from 1965 onward were made of a copper-nickel clad composition rather than the traditional 90% silver. And yes, that includes the 1967 Washington quarter. So what's special about a quarter with no silver in it? Well, it's not just about the metal. It's about the history, the mintage numbers, and more importantly, the rare errors and varieties that collectors are going crazy for right now. First, let's talk numbers. In 1967, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 1.5 billion quarters. That's billion with a B. Because of that, most 1,967 quarters you find in circulation today are only worth face value. But, and this is a big but, there are exceptions. During this time, the U.S. Mint did not include mint marks on coins. So whether your 1967 quarter was struck in Philadelphia or Denver or San Francisco, it won't show a mint mark. That already makes it a little tricky for collectors, which is part of the intrigue. Now let's talk about the varieties that have real value. One of the most sought-after versions of the 1967 quarter is the Special Mint Set or SMS quarter. These coins were not meant for general circulation. Instead, they were specially struck for collectors. They have a satin-like finish, and the strikes are generally stronger than regular circulation coins. A high-grade SMS coin graded MS 68 or higher by PCGS or NGC can fetch upwards of $300 to $600. And that's just the base value. If it has exceptional eye appeal or rare characteristics, it could go for more. Then there are the error coins. These are the real money makers. One known variety is the double die obverse. This is when the die that strikes the coin has a misalignment, resulting in a doubling of the design. This is most noticeable in the lettering, especially in the word liberty or in the motto "In God We Trust." If you spot a strong doubling, hold on to that coin. Some of these error quarters have sold for over $1,000 at auction. Another valuable error to look for is a clipped planchet. This is when a part of the coin is literally missing due to a cutting mistake during the minting process. If you have a 1967 quarter with a clean, curved section missing, it might be a clipped planchet error. These can be worth $50 to $150 depending on condition, and here's something else to keep in mind. A small number of 1,967 quarters were accidentally struck on silver planchets left over from previous years. These are extremely rare, but if you find a quarter that sounds different or weighs more than the typical 5.67 grams, it could be silver. In that case, get it tested or appraised. A 1967 silver quarter could be worth thousands of dollars. Now let's shift to grading. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is everything. A worn 1967 quarter from circulation might be worth 25 cents, maybe a little more if it's in better than average shape. But if you have a coin in mint state, especially MS 65 or higher, you're looking at a value in the range of $10 to $50 for the best examples. And if it's certified by a top grading company like PCGS or NGC, you can easily multiply that value. High-grade SMS coins, especially those with cameo or deep cameo designations, are in hot demand among collectors right now. Coins with that deep frosted design and mirror-like fields bring a premium, sometimes pushing values past $1,000 in auctions. Now let's talk about the market. As of this year, the coin market has been trending upward. With the economy in flux and precious metals gaining attention, collectors are investing more heavily in high-grade and rare coins. If you have a rare 1967 quarter, this might be the perfect time to get it appraised or graded. To recap, yes, the 1967 Washington quarter is a common coin. But hidden among those billions are rare varieties, mint errors, SMS issues, and even possible silver planchets that could make yours worth a small fortune. The key is to examine your coins closely. Look for strong details, look for errors, weigh your coins, and learn what to spot. You might be holding something far more valuable than you ever imagined, and don't forget, never clean your coins. Cleaning them can destroy the value instantly. Leave them in their natural condition and handle them carefully by the edges. We dive deep into the world of rare and valuable coins. If you're a coin collector, investor, or just a curious viewer wondering if that old quarter in your pocket might be worth more than face value, then you're in the right place. Today, we're talking about the 1988 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that might just be hiding in your change drawer, your old coin jar, or even your wallet right now. So let's get into it. First, let's go back in time for a moment and talk about the origins of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the quarter features a portrait of the first U.S. president on the obverse, or front, and an eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. This classic design remained in use all the way until the year 1998 before the start of the 50-state quarters program. Now, the 1988 D quarter. What makes this coin so interesting? The D mint mark means this quarter was struck at the Denver Mint. In that year, the Denver Mint produced over 596 million Washington quarters. Yes, you heard that right, over 500 million. So at first glance, it seems like this coin is incredibly common. But as we'll soon see, not all 1988 D quarters are created equal. Let's talk about the standard issue first. That if you have a circulated 1988 D Washington quarter, the average value is about 25 cents, face value. If it's in better condition, let's say in uncirculated mint state, you could be looking at around $1 to $3, depending on the grade. But here's where things get more exciting. In coin collecting, condition is everything. And that's where mint state coins come in. These are coins that show absolutely no signs of wear and have been preserved in nearly perfect condition since the day they were minted. Collectors and grading services use a system called the Sheldon scale, which grades coins from 1 to 70. The higher the number, the better the condition. A 1988 D Washington quarter graded MS67, which means near perfect condition, is rare. In fact, only a very small number have ever achieved that grade. One of those MS67 quarters sold for as much as $500 at auction. Even MS66 and MS65 graded coins can fetch $50 to $100 or more, depending on demand, but it gets even better. There are errors and varieties that make some 1988 D quarters extremely valuable. For example, there are double die errors, where parts of the design are duplicated due to a mistake in the minting process. These can happen on the obverse or reverse, and they can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars if the error is dramatic and the coin is in great condition. Then there's the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process. The result is a coin that looks lopsided or partially blank on one side. Depending on how severe the error is, an off-center 1988 D quarter can be worth $100 to $300 or more. Another rare error is the clipped planchet. This is when a part of the coin is literally missing due to a miscut metal blank before it struck. These clipped coins are very popular among error collectors. There are also coins with transitional planchet errors. Although rare for the 1988 series, sometimes coins are struck on the wrong type of metal blank, often due to leftover planchets from a previous year or denomination. If a 1988 D quarter was struck on a foreign or incorrect planchet, it could be worth thousands. So how do you know if your 1988 D quarter is valuable? First, check the condition. If it looks brand new with full detail and no wear, it may be worth grading. You'll want to look for sharp details in Washington's hair, clean rims, and a bright, original luster. Next, look for errors. Use a magnifying glass to check for doubling in the lettering or numbers. Look at the edges for any missing parts or signs of an off-center strike, and of course, if you think you've got something special, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll give you an official grade and help you determine the true market value of your coin. Now, let's talk about current market trends. As of now, in 2025, coin collecting is more popular than ever. With inflation and uncertain markets, more people are turning to tangible assets like coins, bullion, and collectibles. High-grade and error coins are especially in demand, and that's pushing prices up. Coins like the 1988 D quarter, once overlooked, are starting to gain attention, especially in top grades, online auction sites, coin shows, and even YouTube coin hunters are showcasing these gems being sold for hundreds of dollars. So, don't underestimate what might be hiding in plain sight. To recap, the 1988 D Washington quarter is common in circulation, but in exceptional condition or with mint errors, it can be worth big money. Keep an eye out for high-grade examples, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and doubled dies. You never know when a simple pocket change coin could turn into a hidden treasure. So go check your coin jars, your old dresser drawers, or your childhood collection. That quarter you tossed aside years ago might just be worth far more than 25 cents. Video, we're uncovering the secrets and value behind the 1990 D Washington quarter dollar. You might be surprised to learn how this seemingly common coin from your pocket change could be worth much more than 25 cents. Stick around as we explore its history, the minting process, rare errors, collector demand, and of course, its current market value. The Washington quarter has been an iconic piece of American coinage since 1932, originally introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It replaced the standing Liberty quarter and quickly became a permanent part of American currency. The obverse design features a profile of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan, which remained largely unchanged for decades until the redesigns of the state quarters began in 1999. Now, let's focus on the 1990 D quarter. The D Mint mark signifies that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary U.S. mint facilities known for producing billions of circulating coins. In 1990, the Denver Mint struck over 926 million Washington quarters. That's right, nearly 1 billion coins. Because of this high mintage, most 1990 D quarters are still only worth face value, especially if they're worn from circulation. However, collectors and coin experts know that certain varieties, minting errors, and high-grade examples can be worth significantly more. This is where things get interesting. Let's talk about condition. The condition of a coin is graded on a 70-point scale, with coins in mint state 60 or higher considered uncirculated. A 1990 D quarter in mint state 65 or higher can fetch a few dollars, but it's really the coins that grade MS 67 or higher that catch serious attention. In fact, a 1990 D quarter graded MS 67 by PCGS or NGC can be worth upwards of $50 to $100, depending on demand. If you're lucky enough to find a 1990 D quarter graded MS 68, its value can soar to several $100s, simply because very few coins from this year and mint survive in that kind of flawless condition. Now let's dive into the topic of errors and varieties. These are the true hidden treasures of the coin collecting world. A number of 1990 D quarters have been discovered with mint errors that dramatically increase their value. Some of the most valuable include off-center strikes, broad strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets. An off-center strike means the coin was not properly aligned in the minting press, resulting in a portion of the design being missing. The more off-center it is without losing the date, the more valuable it becomes. A well-centered off-strike 1990 D quarter with 30 to 50% off-center can be worth between $50 to $200. Broad strikes occur when the retaining collar that shapes the rim fails, causing the coin to spread out and appear wider than normal. These are quite rare and can be worth between $25 and $75 or more. Double die errors are another sought-after variety. These occur when the die that strikes the coin is engraved twice at slightly different angles. This results in a noticeable doubling of the design elements, most commonly seen on the date or lettering. While no major double die varieties have been officially recognized for the 1990 D quarter, collectors are always on the lookout, and any unusual doubling should be evaluated by a professional grading service. Clipped planchets are when a portion of the coin is literally missing due to an incomplete blank being fed into the press. These errors are easy to spot and can bring a premium ranging from $20 to $100, depending on the size and shape of the clip. It's important to remember that authenticity matters. If you believe you found a rare error or high-grade 1990D quarter, have it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These companies provide certification that can dramatically increase the coin's market value and give collectors confidence when buying or selling. Another key factor in value is eye appeal. Even two coins with the same technical grade can vary in value based on how they look. A coin with bright luster, strong strike, and no distracting marks will always attract more attention than one with dull surfaces or spots, even if they both grade the same. Let's take a look at the current market. As of today, a typical circulated 1990D quarter is still worth face value. But uncirculated examples in MS65 condition might sell for about $5 to $10. In MS66, prices rise to $20 or $30. Once you get to MS67, you're talking $50 to $100, sometimes more depending on population reports and recent auction results. In 2021, a 1990D quarter graded MS68 by PCGS sold for over $1,000 at auction. That's right, a single quarter sold for 1,000 times its face value, simply because of its pristine condition and rarity at that grade level. Keep in mind, this was an exceptional case, and coins of that caliber are extremely rare. What does this mean for you? It means that checking your pocket change, coin jars, and old collections could pay off. You never know when you might come across a high-grade or error coin hiding in plain sight. The 1990D Washington quarter is proof that even modern coins can carry hidden value if you know what to look for. To summarize, the 1990D Washington quarter is a fascinating piece of modern numismatics. While most are only worth 25 cents, high-grade examples and error coins can be worth significant money. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, keeping an eye out for quality and variety can turn an ordinary coin into a valuable treasure. We explore the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we're diving into the history and current market value of one of the most talked about state quarters in numismatic circles, the 2005 Kansas quarter. That's right, the Kansas quarter that has shocked collectors with its unexpected value and a notorious minting error that's become legendary. The 2005 Kansas state quarter was released as part of the United States Mint's 50 state quarters program. It was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, hence the P Mint mark. On its reverse side, the Kansas quarter features a striking image of a bison standing in tall prairie grass, with the inscription Kansas and the year 1861, marking the year Kansas entered the Union. But what truly makes this coin special and potentially worth big money is not just its elegant design, it's the famous error coins that slipped through quality control and ended up in circulation. Now let's talk about the most famous error that made this coin a hot topic, the so-called, "In God We Rust" error. Yes, you heard that right. Some of the 2005 Kansas quarters were struck with grease-filled dies, causing the letter T in the word trust to be nearly or completely missing. The result? A coin that reads, "In God We Rust." This error turned what would be a common coin into a highly sought-after piece for collectors, but how did this happen? The grease-filled die error is a result of excess grease and debris filling in the T of trust during the minting process. When a die is clogged in this way, the metal flow does not fill the intended detail, leading to the missing letter. It might sound like a minor issue, but to coin collectors, this kind of mint error is gold. Literally and figuratively, the demand for these error coins has been consistent since they were first discovered in circulation shortly after the Kansas quarters were released in 2005. If you happen to have one of these quarters with the "In God We Rust" error, even in circulated condition, you might be holding a coin worth far more than its face value. Depending on the condition and clarity of the missing letter T, these coins can fetch anywhere from $20 to over $100. In high mint state condition, that is, coins graded MS65 or higher, collectors have paid upwards of $200 or more, but that's not all. There are other Kansas quarter errors from 2005 that have also become desirable. Some examples include off-center strikes, die cracks, and doubled dies. Though not as iconic as the "In God We Rust" variant, these errors can still command solid prices in the current market. Let's take a closer look at what the current coin market says. As of this year, Kansas quarter errors, especially the "In God We Rust" version in uncirculated condition, are selling for between $75 and $150 on popular auction platforms like eBay and Heritage Auctions. Certified examples, those graded by third-party services like PCGS or NGC, can go for even more, sometimes over $250 if the error is dramatic and the coin is nearly flawless. Now you might be wondering, how do I know if I have one of these valuable Kansas quarters? It's easy. Grab a magnifying glass and check the obverse side of your 2005 P Kansas quarter. Look carefully at the words, "In God We Trust." If the T is faint or missing entirely, you could have a winner. To be certain, consider taking the coin to a professional coin dealer or submitting it to a grading service for authentication and valuation, and don't forget, even coins with minor errors, like slight doubling or planchet flaws, can still be worth much more than face value, especially to the right buyer. Many collectors specialize in error coins, and the Kansas quarter has become a staple of modern error collections. So next time you check your change or search through a coin roll, keep your eyes peeled for that 2005 Kansas quarter. What may look like a simple 25-cent piece could be worth 100 times that or more. The key is condition, the visibility of the error, and whether the coin has been professionally graded. Let's recap. The 2005 P Kansas quarter is not just another state quarter. Thanks to an unusual minting error, the infamous "In God We Rust" variation has become one of the most valuable and well-known modern coin errors in the hobby. Depending on condition and error clarity, these coins can range from a few bucks to several $100s on the current market. And with more collectors turning their attention to modern errors, the value of these coins could continue to climb in the years ahead. We're diving deep into one of the most talked about modern coins in recent years, the 2017 D quarter dollar coin from the America the Beautiful series. Specifically, we're going to cover everything you need to know about the Denver Mint quarters released in 2017, why collectors are going crazy over certain varieties, what makes some of them worth big money, and what you should look for in your change or coin collection. So let's get right into it. The year 2017 was a special one for quarter collectors. The United States Mint released 5 different America the Beautiful quarters that year, all part of a program that began in 2010 and continued until 2021. Each year 5 new designs were released featuring national parks and historic sites across the United States. In 2017 the quarters honored Effigy Mounds National Monument in Iowa, Frederick Douglass National Historic Site in Washington, D.C., Ozark National Scenic Riverways in Missouri, Ellis Island in New Jersey, and George Rogers Clark National Historical Park in Indiana. All of these coins were struck at 3 mint facilities: Philadelphia, San Francisco, and of course the Denver Mint, marked by a D mint mark. Today we're focusing on the Denver issues because some of them have made headlines due to their rarity, condition, and error potential. First off, let's talk about why a 2017 D quarter could be worth far more than 25 cents for most people. Pocket change is just spare money, but for numismatists, coin collectors, every little detail matters. A small variation, a strike error, or an unusually preserved coin could mean the difference between face value and a payout of hundreds or even thousands of dollars. One of the most sought-after quarters from 2017 is the 2017 D Ozark Riverways quarter. In pristine mint state condition, coins graded MS67 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC have sold for over $200 and some even approaching $500 depending on the market demand. And I appeal the reason these coins command such a high premium is because coins that are circulated or have anywhere drop in value significantly. Mint state coins, especially those in high grades, are much rarer than you might think because very few are pulled from circulation immediately and stored properly. Now let's move into errors, which is where the real treasure hunt begins. The 2017 D quarters have been found with some very interesting and valuable errors, including double dies, die clashes, off-center strikes, and even missing lettering. One of the most notable error coins is the 2017 D Ellis Island quarter that shows a die break on the obverse, creating what collectors call a spitting George Washington effect. This die break comes from a crack in the die used to strike the coin, causing a raised line or blob of metal on Washington's mouth, making it look like he's spitting. These coins have sold for $20 to $50 even in circulated condition and more in higher grades. Another example is the 2017 D Effigy Mounds Quarter, which some collectors found with significant die chips and cuds. A cud is when part of the die breaks off completely, leaving a blank or raised blob on the coin's surface. These types of errors are highly collectible because they are dramatic, visible with the naked eye, and unique to that die state. No two cuds are ever exactly alike, but here's where things get even more exciting. Let's talk about values and market trends as of 2025. The demand for high-grade 2017 D quarters is still strong, especially for those with error types or registry quality. For instance, a 2017 D Frederick Douglass quarter graded MS68 by PCGS sold for over $600 in auction. That's right, a coin just a few years old, pulled from circulation, could be worth serious money if it's in the right condition. Why is that? Well, part of it is the collector base. More and more people are entering the hobby, and competition is fierce for top pop coins. Top pop means the highest graded examples in the population. Report these are the best of the best, and some collectors will pay a premium to own one. Another factor is scarcity. While millions of these quarters were minted, very few survive in top grade and fewer still with eye-catching errors. This scarcity combined with collector demand is what drives up the prices. So if you're going through your change or rolls of quarters from the bank, keep your eyes open for 2017 D coins. Look closely at each design. Use a loupe or magnifier if you can. Look for doubling on the lettering, extra thickness, odd marks, missing details, or die cracks. And don't forget the basics. A coin that looks like it just came off the press with strong luster, no scratches, and sharp details is always worth a closer look. To recap, the 2017 D quarters from the America the Beautiful series may seem common at first glance, but hidden among them are valuable finds from mint state gems that can sell for hundreds to error coins that make collectors go wild. This is a year and mint mark combo you don't want to overlook. Whether you're a beginner or seasoned collector, these quarters prove that valuable coins don't always have to be old. Some of the most valuable coins are the ones sitting right in your pocket right now. We dig deep into the stories behind America's rare coins and treasures hiding in plain sight. Today, we're talking about a coin that hasn't even entered wide circulation yet but is already stirring excitement among collectors and investors alike. The 2029 D quarter dollar. This coin is expected to become one of the most talked about quarters in modern U.S. mint history and could be worth far more than its face value in the years to come. So let's dive into everything you need to know about this coin. From its historical context and unique features to the current market expectations and why it could be worth big money. To understand why the 2029 D quarter is so special, we first need to step back and look at the legacy of the United States quarter. The quarter dollar has been around since 1796, but what makes more modern quarters valuable often comes down to three major factors: low mintage, rare mint errors, and collector interest. The D Mint mark stands for the Denver Mint, which has produced billions of quarters over the decades, but every now and then a year or a design becomes legendary. Think about the 2004 Wisconsin Extra Leaf quarter or the 2019 W quarters with the West Point Mint mark. These were released into circulation but became instantly collectible and sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars in pristine condition. Now fast forward to 2029. The D quarter is projected to be part of the final release of a new quarter program that started in 2022 and runs through 2030. This program is celebrating American women and trailblazers across different fields of history. Each year brings 5 new designs, and the 2029 D quarter will likely feature one of the last honorees in the program. That alone makes it historically significant. Collectors love the first and last coins in a series. They often become key dates that anchor entire collections, and values tend to spike over time, especially in higher grades. What's even more interesting is that the U.S. Mint is rumored to be planning a low mintage release for at least one of the 2029 quarters, possibly even through limited circulation or special collector sets only. If the Denver Mint version ends up being the lowest mintage of the year or includes any sort of special feature like a unique finish or error, it could skyrocket in value within just a few years of release. Now let's talk current market value. While we can't see the future, we can learn from the past. Let's look at the 2019 W quarters again. They were worth 25 cents in circulation, but uncirculated or graded MS67 or higher they often sell for $50 to $100 each. Some went for as much as $500 when they first dropped. Key errors from recent decades like the 2005 Kansas in God We Rust error or the 2004 Extra Leaf variety have sold for over $1,000. If the 2029 D quarter follows a similar path and ends up with a notable error or limited mintage, then we're talking big potential returns. Especially for collectors who act early and snag high-grade examples right out of sealed mint rolls or collector bags. So how can you spot a valuable 2029 D quarter when the time comes? First, you want to check for any unusual features. This includes double dies, missing details, odd finishes, off-center strikes, or planchet issues. These are known as mint errors and they often slip through unnoticed. Second, you'll want to keep an eye out for condition. Coins graded MS67 or higher, especially by reputable services like PCGS or NGC, are where the real value lives. A common coin in MS67 can be worth 20 times more than the same coin in circulated condition. And third, you'll want to act fast. When the 2029 quarters begin entering circulation, whether through banks or collector sets, be ready to order early rolls and check every coin closely. The earliest finds often bring the biggest rewards. Now let's speculate just a little. If the US Mint does go ahead with a limited Denver issue, say for a special commemorative version of the 2029 design with a mintage under 1 million, that coin could easily break into the high-value tier by 2030 or 2031. Think $200 to $500 for MS67 and maybe over $1,000 for perfect MS70 grades. Add a known error or a unique variety and we're looking at true treasure territory. Collectors love stories, and the story behind the 2029 D quarter could be one of the most compelling yet. It combines the end of a celebrated series, the potential for scarcity, and the excitement of modern coin hunting. Whether you're collecting to invest or just love the thrill of the hunt, this is one coin you won't want to miss. To wrap it up, remember the 2029 D quarter dollar might only be a face value coin today, but in the world of numismatics, tomorrow's change could be today's goldmine. Stay alert, stay curious, and always check your change. Who knows, the next coin you find might just be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. We uncover hidden treasures in your pocket change. Today we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing modern coins in recent US Mint history, the 2021 P quarter dollar. If you have one of these in your collection or even just rattling around in a jar at home, you'll want to stick around because some of these coins could be worth big money. Let's start with the basics. The 2021 P quarter is part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, which concluded in early 2021, making way for a transitional design. In that final year, the United States Mint released just one commemorative quarter under the program, the 2021 Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site Quarter. This coin honors the legendary group of African American pilots who fought during World War II, known for their courage, skill, and determination despite facing discrimination. Now, why is the 2021 P quarter especially interesting to collectors? The letter P stands for the Philadelphia Mint, where millions of these quarters were struck. In total, the Philadelphia Mint produced just over 200 million of these coins. At first glance, that might not seem rare. But rarity is only one part of the story. What makes a coin valuable is a mix of factors including demand, condition, and most importantly, errors and varieties. This is where the 2021 P quarter really starts to shine. One of the key things to look for is what collectors call a die break or die chip. In simple terms, this happens when part of the die used to strike the coin begins to crack or wear down, leaving raised metal on the finished coin. For the 2021 P quarter, there are several known die break varieties. The most famous is what's commonly known as the leaky bucket error. This refers to a die chip on the helmet of the pilot depicted on the reverse side of the coin. It makes the helmet appear as if it's leaking or damaged. Depending on how dramatic the chip is, coins with this error have sold for anywhere from $5 up to more than $100 online, and that's just the beginning. Another valuable variety is the doubled die. This happens when the coin is struck in such a way that design elements appear doubled, usually visible in the lettering or other fine details. A few sharp-eyed collectors have reported doubled dies on the 2021 P Tuskegee Airmen quarter, particularly around the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Though less common than die breaks, if you find a true doubled die, it can fetch significant money. Some examples have sold for more than $200 in high grades. Speaking of grades, let's talk about condition. Condition is everything in the coin world. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect mint state coin. A regular 2021 P quarter pulled from circulation might be worth 25 cents, but if it's in mint state 67 or better, especially with an error, it could be worth much more. Certified examples from reputable grading companies like PCGS or NGC in Mint State 67 have sold for up to $50. Those in Mint State 68 or better can reach even higher prices. Now let's look at the current market trends as of mid-2025. Collectors are still actively searching for rare varieties of the 2021 P quarter. Because it's a relatively new coin, many of the rarest errors are still being discovered. This means values can spike suddenly as more people become aware of these varieties. On eBay and other coin auction platforms, you'll often see rolls of unsearched 2021 P quarters selling for a premium. Individual coins with visible die breaks or doubling routinely list and sell for anywhere from $10 to $150, depending on visibility and grade. But what about long-term value coins like the 2021 P quarter have a special place in numismatic history? They mark the end of the America the Beautiful series and pay tribute to a group of American heroes. With this historic connection, rare varieties, and relatively low mintage compared to earlier quarters in the series, many experts believe their value could increase over time. If you're thinking of investing, look for coins in high mint state grades or with dramatic, unmistakable errors. So the next time you get change at the store or dig through an old coin jar, take a close look. You might just find a 2021 P quarter with a hidden error that's worth far more than face value. Grab a magnifying glass and inspect the details, especially the helmet on the back and the lettering on the front. What seems like a tiny flaw could be your ticket to a valuable find. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of our future coin treasure hunts. Drop a comment below if you found a valuable 2021 P quarter or have questions about your coins. Until next time, happy collecting and keep checking your change.